how you sculpt audio. This is the most common DSP. This is the most common plugin that we will be using is the EQ, because it's how you sculpt your sound. It's how you shave off the end. It's how you shave off the bottom. Now you see this is pre-EQ right now, so this is what the sound looks like before it goes through the EQ, but if we switch this to post-EQ, you can see now all that low end falls off. Pre-EQ, this is what the sound's like. It's got all this low end. Low end is always what will be the muddiest. Like your low end is where you're gonna have the most clashing frequencies. Like muddy is the most common term we use in when we're talking about trying to fix a mix, because it's like, oh, there's too much going on. You know, you don't have two bassists playing the same part usually, unless you're one of those crazy bands that likes to break rules. But because the low end, there's so much going on. That's why low cut's one of the most common EQing things that we do. And we can see here, look how much space that gives it. It's able to let us sculpt the sound, really. And just having this analyzer here in the default Logic EQ is really what lets us see exactly what we're doing. So get familiar with that. Use this analyzer, especially on the master. So we'll talk about that when we actually talk about the EQ section here. The analyzers, really great. Just want to finish the bottom here. Yeah, so other things that we include, the signal meters, analyzers, test tone generator that lets you tune, noise reduction, pitch correction, auto-tune. Logic has its own auto-tune built in, which is awesome because auto-tune itself costs like $1,000 as a plugin. Imaging, bass enhancement, time-altering processors, utilities. We'll get all into this now. We'll go over each one. So beginning, amps and pedals. This is one that I don't use so much, but if we have guitar players, I know a lot of guitar players like to use this stuff. Extensive collection of guitar and bass amplifiers, classical pedal effects that you can play or add them to the recordings you have. A lot of the times when we're working with our guitarist, he'll just send us dry, like just basic, like unamplified guitar sounds, and then I'll be able to run his guitar sounds through these different plugins. So we've got like the amp designer, the pedal board, which allows you to run like, there's like a couple dozen pedals that are actually built into Logic that we can use and add to the guitar sound. So it gives you full control over guitar sound. So you've got reverb, tremolo, vibrato, all things that we'll talk about in the other slides. But you can do all this just some guitar stuff. Variety of speaker cabinets. Let's look at delay effects. Now delay effects we use all the time. I use delay so much because it really is what gives your sound space. So delay works by storing the input signal, holding it for a very short time before sending it back out to the effect input or output. So that would be, we've got all the different sections here. This is where we load DSPs, of course we know this, and this is just a list of pedals of DSPs we're going to go through. First is our amp section, and this is the delay. So Logic's got all these different delay ones here. Delay design, echo, sample delay, stereo delay, tape delay. You'll experiment with them to see which ones work with you the most. Delay designer is the most complicated one. A great starter one I'd say is stereo delay. It allows you to do your both left and right channels differently. That one is what I used off the bat initially, but then we also have sample delay, which very, very simple, as you can see. So if you're looking just for basic delay, go for that. Delay is, if you've ever played guitar, you'll know it allows you to seem like you're a lot more good than you actually are by playing tons more notes than you actually played, but it really gives things space. Let's see what it says about it. The held and delayed signal is repeated after a given time period, creating a repeating echo effect. Echo is just essentially the exact same thing as delay. Each subsequent repeat is a little quieter than the previous one. Most delays also allow you to feed a percentage of the delayed signal back to the input. This can result in a subtle chorus-like effect, cascading chaotic audio output. So it's not just an echo. Delay effects can be used for a more textural kind of chorusy sound to it. A chorus effect, of course, is when a sound is layered with a slightly detuned version of itself, kind of like the doubling vocal effect. The delay time can often be synchronized to the project tempo by matching the grid resolution of the project. You know, we're making products here. But what that means is that it will be sunk to the BPM or the tempo. So it's really good to have your delay on the grid. because a delay effect will also be a rhythmic effect. A lot of each band of frequency, you can compress each band of frequency, really gives you control of the whole thing. This is really, multi-band compression is really the difference between amateur products and really good, tight sounding products. Like what mastering is all about multi-band compression. It's about tightening things together. And the multipressor and Logic isn't the most advanced, but it's like the perfect starting point for using multi-band compression. So you see we have, if you just look at the presets, 2-band compressor, pretty basic. That's more for single audio files. But now we kind of have these mastering plugins. Like with the hip-hop one, a little more bass in the low end, a little bit of a scoop in the low mids. It's good to experiment with these. Try putting these on like your next project and going through the presets, and you'll really see how this control over each band of frequencies affects your sound. This is like the final stages of mixing when you use this. This is like the last thing you do, but it's what will really make it tight, controlled, and focused. So, gotta love the multipressor. You don't have real professional sounding finished products without multi-band compressors. And if you ever wonder why mixing and mastering people get paid like $150 for like an hour's work, it's because they really know their way around multi-band compressors. Lots of fun. Let's get through these here. What else do we have? EQ, equalizer. We've kind of talked about that, but let's see what Logic has to say about it. An equalizer, commonly abbreviated as EQ, shapes the sound of incoming audio by changing specific the level of frequency bands. It's your hands as you sculpt that audio. Equalization is one of the most commonly used audio processes, both for music projects and in post-production work for video. You can use EQ to subtly and significantly shape the sound of an audio file, instrument, or project by adjusting specific frequencies or frequency ranges. All EQs are specialized filters that allow certain frequencies to pass through unchanged, while raising or boosting or lowering, cutting the level of other frequencies. Some EQs use a broad brush fashion to boost or cut a large range of frequencies. Other EQs, particularly parametric and multiband EQs, can be used for more precise control. The simplest types of EQs are single band EQs, which include low cut, high cut, low pass, and high pass, shelving, and parametric EQs. So Logic's default EQ is actually pretty complex. A single band one would only have like this. You'd only be able to cut the lows. I'll show you a single band EQ. I've got a really great one actually. Fab Filter Pro Q. Very simple, but it allows you to just sculpt the sound however you want. You can cut or boost. And the golden rule when it comes to EQing, the golden rule, you're going to hear this a lot throughout your audio career, is always cut before you boost. Because if you're boosting, you're really just adding gain to these certain frequencies. And the more gain you add, the more distortion that you're going to have, the more things will clip. But if you cut and you make room for things, more things will be able to fit together. You know, we only have limited room when it comes to a mix. We can only fit things through. So the more room that you can make by cutting things on the EQ, the more you'll be able to fit stuff together. So low cutting is like the most common thing you'll do. You got to make sure everything will fit together. And it's good to be able to just drop out. Like say you can hear a ring at certain frequencies. We ring out things by boosting to hear where it's peaking the most, and then by cutting it where it's standing out. Let's do it to different sound. Let's analyze that. Now, if you didn't have the analyzer,